So we've got Mighty here at the top, 12 o'clock, down in the bottom right. Just below 3 o'clock is Action.
Okay. Definitely, I mean, you have to say that it's Action favored. This is a guy that gets, very deep in ASL over and over and over, whereas Mighty, again, like I mentioned, he's considered the best amateur Protoss player, meaning he hasn't made it into ASL yet. I think that's kind of the dividing line that is being used in Korea right now between pro and amateur, is just like whether or not you've been in ASL.
Yeah, whether or not you've competed on the biggest stage, basically.
Yeah, and you guys might have seen Mighty in like ACS, for instance, if you've watched that. That's the Challengers Star League, like the amateur one. He's made it deep in there before, but yeah, not quite that big Star League finish. Now, yeah, Action's favored, but like I said, I think Mighty is actually very, very strong.
ACS, a tournament we both actually played in.
Yeah.
It was fun to try to participate in those live events back when it was a pre-pandemic world.
I miss that world. I want nothing more than to go back to a Brood War LAN.
Oh, yeah, man. It was so fun.
Literally my favorite thing in the whole world. So this is a 9-pool, again, from Action, but we do not see the gas.
Yeah, no gas. It was actually overpool too, or not overpool. I'm sorry, extractor trick.
Mm-hmm.
Which is is also completely fine. This is a map, I believe. You can cannon rush certain spots, and so a lot of times, just to make sure that you don't die to something like that, you open up with that just to negate that possibility. Is this 6 lings making?
No. All the eggs are. Like, 2 of the eggs are pulsating together and 1 is pulsating separately, so it's probably 4 lings or 2 lings. Or it could have been that the 3rd larva popped out afterwards. Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
6 lings. So,
but that's actually a nice trick. Like, if you see all 3 larvae there, like when you're scouting, and then like 2 pop up together and then 1 pop up together, it's because they're making different things. Because they pulsate completely together if they're made at the same time.
But when you see this many lings and you've gone gate first, you don't even want to attack at all. Not a bad idea by Mighty to try to delay that hatchery. But you got to be a little bit careful. This isn't the hardest thing in the world for Protoss to hold, but it's not the easiest thing either. And so, my question was answered for me. A lot of times you have a ramp that you can work with, like on Polypoid, where you protect your high ground. But in this case, because he doesn't have a ramp, he just goes forge gate. So this is something Action seems to really just like to do, is to start to hit the gateway. I'm curious if we're going to have more and more Protosses, or Zergs, excuse me, behave like this in the future to try to punish these Protosses that maybe are getting too greedy by having a gateway out here and trying to barely hold everything off.
Yeah, I guess that is the new style, right? Like, we're seeing Mini has really changed the metagame of PvZ to be as greedy as is possible, and we see a lot of other top Protoss players taking part in that as well. So
yeah.
maybe that is the move, is for everyone to just get more aggressive as Zerg.
Yeah, I mean, it might be the answer. Sometimes people think that they're playing the correct way when it turns out all you had to do is almost just play too aggressive, and you can zone stuff like that out of the meta. But look, Mighty holds, and honestly, Mighty, has done pretty well here overall. I mean, he's got his cannon coming, but he has the gas on the way. Action hasn't really interrupted him that much, but Action still has a scouting probe alive here. That's a really important thing to note.
Yeah, that's really huge for Mighty to be able to actually check what's going on. He's gonna get in and see. Oh, the drone flank! The drone flank. He doesn't get to see that it's a layer. So now, as far as he knows, this could be a 3-hatch Hydra. He just doesn't know.
This is a very frustrating moment for a Protoss, because having confirmation of the layer is really good. I think having confirmation of the layer can also allow you to comfortably go into double star gate, as an example, or do a lot of that kind of weird stuff that we've seen. You were mentioning earlier, Mighty likes to go for lots of Corsairs. Well, that would have been easier to know to do that if you know the layer's coming, but now you're not that sure. I mean, and the problem is, not that Protoss can't play a perfect game from here, but you're kind of guessing. You're kind of in the dark.
No, it definitely does make it tough. Do you normally put down like a second cannon in a situation like this, or are you really skimping and just hoping your Corsair is going to give you the info?
If you go gate first, you don't put the second cannon down as quickly because you have enough zealots. You know, you can kind of try to take a fight a little bit, but you know, it depends. You know, it also depends on the entrance to your base. Like, I would say this entrance is not as easy to smoothly Hydra bust. You know, you have that tiny little hole that goes towards the entrance to the Protoss' entrance, so to speak. Does that make sense? It's not easy to run Hydras in and out of there. Slow Zealots can kind of fight there. But I guess our question's been answered, Artosis. He does throw the second cannon down there.
Yeah, and that Corsair is going to be popping out relatively soon. Citadel on the way. Pretty normal. And
the difference between two cannons and one cannon is so insane.
Oh, yeah. Two cannons is no cannons, and I mean, one cannon is no cannons, and two cannons is one.
Yeah, cannons do a lot of damage, but if they can be targeted, they die incredibly fast, especially to Hydras. So, I mean, look, this is a very straightforward PvZ build here from Mighty. He's going to get air weapons. He's going to keep making Corsairs. He's getting a second gateway, +1 attack, and Zealot speed is going to be upgraded. This is one of your cookie cutter builds that anybody who's trying to learn the game should be able to do.
Yeah, and his Corsair getting like full scouting. Look at this group of overlords. He's got like 5 overlords over here. But there should be some Scourge on the way. Oh, don't lose that. No, he was too greedy, Tasteless. Oh, look at that.
He did get away.
Yeah, he's kind of randomizing where it's going to try to dodge those Scourge.
Yeah, he tried to disappear into the bottom of the map. You really don't want to lose any of the Corsairs because you lose a lot of momentum to be a threat. So he's going to try to catch it. Let's see.
Look at the spread on the mini map. All these dots from action. Like, he has lings just about everywhere, and he sees where it is. The Scourge. Can they actually head it off? I don't think they can, actually.
No, he gets away.
Oh, look at where the Stargate is, man.
You beat me to it. I mean, it looks like he could just get a spawn kill here. No, he's going to be fine. I think Action has actually had a lot of really good ideas. It really shows why he's just one of these players that knows how to get the kill. And now he's going to try to just come in here and trap some Corsairs. Another little tactic to draw the fire away from the cannon and come in. And, you know, you got to be careful when you're the Protoss. If everything sticks together, you won't die. But if, you know, you lose a couple Corsairs here and then lose cannons somewhere else, you do lose the game.
Yeah, yeah.
So
by the way, I do want to point out that the Scourge micro there was pretty sick, and so was the micro of the Corsairs. And now we actually have some mutas out joining the fray. A lot of Corsairs though, 5 Corsairs out here. No +1 quite yet. Some of the Scourge do connect, so it's down to 4. Attacking into this third base, there are a couple of Sunkens placed reasonably well.
I think that air weapons is about to finish here for the Protoss. It just now finishes, but he's down to 4 Corsairs, which is kind of the number where you can't do as much. It seems like Mighty basically had the upgrade finish and then got a little bit too ambitious. You know, I mean, the Zealot attack and legs upgrade and didn't quite have enough to actually be a threat in the air. And really, it's the combination of the two. And here it is, 5. It's up to 5 again, and that's when you can shoot down a Corsair with a Scourge with +1 attack and win the fight. And so he did that.
Oh, he caught the mutas.
Yeah, no, he did it. He's the mistake that Mighty made back there was attacking when +1 air attack wasn't done. So the Scourge, he has to run from them basically.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's 5 +1 Corsairs, 2 shot of Scourge, so that's like a huge difference. Ooh, he actually loses a Corsair. I think he actually had a rally out on the Corsairs.
I believe you're correct.
Yeah, so a little bit of a mistake there, but he's made an Archon. He's continuing to make Zealots. The Archon, of course, you can fly the Corsairs over the Archon to really give that added support against the Scourge and mutas.
Mighty's going to be a real threat here. I'm checking to see if there's any lurkers. In fact, we just had the Hydra Den finish, so lurkers are still a ways away.
In fact, he's making 2 Hydrolus Dens because they are a little bit late.
Oh, that's funny. That is. I didn't even notice there was a second one there. I thought it was an Evo or something.
Yeah.
I don't believe that's intentional. Sometimes I'm left guessing because,
I think because it's
maybe
late.
There's something to like getting...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think just because it's so late that he might just say, screw it. He's got a decent amount of drones. It doesn't cost that much to get the extra one.
Okay, the Archon is so important here. Okay, that is... Hold on, I need my second hand here. How many Corsairs is that? It's back up to 4.
Yeah.
Zerg is just barely keeping the Protoss at bay here.
Seems like it's time for Mighty to take that third base. There's a Zergling watching for it, so a fantastic Zergling showing him exactly what Mighty's plan is. The Muta's coming back in. Oh, and he storms away the Scourge.
I don't know if that's the plan, but that's what went down, man. Okay, so Action's going to pull away, but Protoss is assembling an army that is just going to be a threat no matter how you cut it. He hasn't incorporated Dragoons with range yet. I don't know if range has been upgraded. I see the Robo coming. Seems like Mighty's made the right call, basically being patient, not diving into the Dragoon or the Observer Tech too fast, and instead really leaning into the the Corsair and Archon count. Keep in mind, when you're making Corsairs the whole game, Dragoons with range and Robo is going to be late. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, I mean, it is a big gas investment, which is really kind of what slows Protoss down overall, is having just 2 geysers. You really have to decide what you're going to spend that on. Now, he is throwing down a couple cannons at this third base location, getting ready to take that. A lot of Hydras starting to get fielded here from Action. He's on 6 hatches. Well, 7 now, because he does have his 4th base that just popped open. And is Mighty supposed to be attacking? Because he's been on 8 gate for a bit, and he has a lot of Zealots.
I think he was a little bit slow to try to get... Oh, this Templar! Was it worth it? I don't know. Basically, he was a little bit slow to get the cannons at his other base, and now he's got it up, so he can't die to a counterattack as easily. But this is Mass Zealot, Archon. There's gonna be Templars here. I think this is a real threat here to the Zerg. Zerg only has the missile attack upgrade. Now the SimCity, this isn't the best SimCity for Zerg, but it's not the worst either. But I worry here. I almost feel like he should just be going for it. I think he's being almost too conservative.
Totally agree. I feel like he can bust.
There are Hydras here, unless I'm not seeing something.
No, you're definitely right. The lurkers, the first lurkers are just now morphing. Action jumps forward and actually gets a wonderful pickoff on that High Templar. But Mighty turning back around. He is going to engage for a moment. Seems like Action with his reinforcements has enough at this point. The Corsair's trying to come in from behind to pick off some of these Overlords, and he is going to supply block him.
Mighty's a good player, but he's not quite in sync with everything he needs to do. He should have had the Corsairs with the army attacking, and he probably could have hit the 4th or the 3rd there, to be honest. You know, if you surround these Lurker eggs with Zealots and an Archon, you can kill him. I mean, I'm not saying he had to do that, but it just seems like there were a lot of things he was trying to do, and they all kind of happened out of order of each other, if that makes sense. Like, the Corsairs should have been there when the Zealots came. Now he's lost every single one in the top right.
Oh, he lost all of his Corsairs?
He just lost all his Corsairs.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I see myself in this player. This is how my game's
yeah. No, I think Mighty is actually really good at the matchup, but yeah, again, he's not quite an ASL player yet, right?
Yeah,
and
he's not quite there yet. Again, it's not a knock on his play. It's just you can see things a little bit out of order.
Yeah, that's too bad about the Corsairs, because he supply blocked him at like 110 of 81 and still had 7 Corsairs left. So to hear that he lost that, that's so painful. Imagine if you make it out with the 7 Corsairs there. Oh
yeah, I mean, we really haven't had a player be or ever catch up to where Bisu's been with Corsairs, basically.
Yeah.
He's sort of unique in that he's just able to always have the Corsairs flying around killing stuff.
Well, he's the best multitasker we've ever had for this race, so makes sense.
So he's backing up now. Dragoons are finally becoming part of the Protoss' army. We don't have enough, and that means that these Hydralisks can very easily snipe the observers. You know, Hydras don't have to pay much respect to Speedlots and Archons if they're trying to kill observers.
Now, a lot of lurkers being made here, Tasteless. Like, is he actually ever going to be able to break that high ground area?
I don't know, but Zerg has problems of his own because Protoss keeps growing. You know, a Zerg on 4 bases, you know, ideally you always want to get them as low as you possibly can, right? But
yeah,
at the same time, dude, you know, Protoss has grown into where he needs to be, and honestly, there's plenty of map in the bottom left. I mean, where does the bottom left starting location bases really go. Seems like it goes more to Protoss more easily than to Zerg. Zerg has these forward bases on low ground that can be taken, but how much of a threat is Protoss right now? I would say a pretty big one. I mean, they could definitely come in here and bulldoze a base where there's no sunken colonies.
No, he's playing excellently, and I love to see him take that 4th base. I think he's done a lot of things fantastically. Like, look at his main base as well. He's super ready for a mass drop, which is very common on Ascension, because the main base is so close to, like, the rally point of action. So
yeah.
I love to see that there, but I am a little bit nervous because we have the Defiler mount on the way, and that's kind of like Action's unit. That's like the unit that he's known for, is the Defiler.
Yeah, you are correct. I mean, the Defiler is going to be a real threat here. And if I was a Zerg, I think the play is to try to use Lings to hit these other bases that will eventually be taken the bottom left. And then just dump supply into the main for the Protoss. You can beat a Protoss by just eroding the infrastructure in the main. You don't always have to win by taking out bases. Yeah. Especially in these spots.
Some Lings coming out into the middle here. The Archon gonna fight them easily.
Archon, apparently a very good unit. Does live through that.
He did all right.
No hit points lost there. Kind of a wild moment.
Look at this attack coming out from Mighty. Some huge storms going down. Almost starts to take the high ground.
Yeah, kills off the observers. At this rate, I would really like to see observer speed and vision upgraded.
Yeah.
A lot of times, if you see the Zerg start to target observers at all, just get the observer upgrades. You know? Because you'll know immediately that you're against that kind of Zerg that's going to be doing this, and really a lot of times they're reliant on just sniping observers to keep you out of the game. Yeah,
it's too bad. He had a big enough army, I think, to take that high ground over, and if you take that high ground over, I mean, things are going to start to go well for you, but the fact that he gets slowed down just because he can't see a few lurkers is kind of heartbreaking. And now I'm looking at that 3rd main base in the bottom left, and look at that lurker spread. How do you break in here?
Well, I think that's a question every Protoss player has been asking in games they've lost since the game came out. Like, this is like, how do you get in here, right? You can try to get Reavers, but, you know, Reavers are not quite like siege tanks or these other siege units where they kind of do it on their own. And so I don't know what the game plan is here, but Action's going to keep roaming the map.
Yeah, a little bit of a flank came in there from Action, but he's going to run back with his Hydraling Lurker into his rally points. Mighty's on 4 bases, but like, I don't see anything additional. I guess he has a support base, so maybe he's getting shuttle speed, maybe he's getting Reavers.
Okay, this is a fully upgraded observer here. Yeah, I mean, it looks like Protoss is going to try to force this. This may not go well for Protoss at all, though. When you have lurkers spread out like this, they sort of eat through everything.
Yeah, we have some decent storms going down, but the plagues, of course, so painful. The dark storms stopping the goons from being useful at all.
I almost think the play for Mighty in this game would have been to try to take the bottom left main as quickly as possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, basically run in there and really just secure.
Like, take it as a 4th, do you mean?
Just so that anything, man, just get cannons over here, because this is how you lose the game. This is one of the turtleable positions on the map. 3-player maps are funny like this, in that, you know, after the Zerg's taken all of his bases and the Protoss has taken all of his bases, there's only one more starting location, and mains are already automatically the safest spots on any map because that's the way the game's designed. So just take the other main, you know?
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I mean, maybe I'm going to look around for it. I don't see shuttles yet, but maybe that's going to be the play for Mighty. He has a big bank. They're both maxed out, but he definitely needs to do more than run into Dark Storm Plague over and over.
Yeah, maybe an Arbiter or mass shuttle, or, you know, something like to try to hit an area that in a way that could maybe like kill the main. I think a recall would be great. Let's say over the main that the Zerg just took.
Now look at this engagement in the center, Tastosis. So many Psy Storms going down. The Zealot Archon trying to get on top of all these lurkers, and he loses a lot of Zealots, but he mostly clears it.
Yeah, he did a pretty good job back there cleaning that up, I gotta say. He probably has taken a lot of damage on his units. But Zerg is basically eyeing this base over here that is going to be Protoss's next most organic location to try to control. And, you know, again, the lurker play is a real threat here.
God, he actually lost all his observers in the previous fight, so he can't even push up this ramp until he gets another one out here. I do see some Reavers starting to be produced as well. He's got great defense all over the place, but, like...
It does seem... Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know how he's going to end up winning. Like, he's holding on and he's putting out a great game, but it feels like action is going completely unhindered.
Well, two things. First of all, you're going to beat Zerg in the late game with Storm Drop, okay, which we don't really have. You know, once you get past the point where you have like 4 bases and you have the macro engine basically in play, you got to get shuttle speed. You got to start storm dropping. When you have shuttle speed, the Scourge can't really stop you. You kind of just fly through. And we're not really having that. So Zerg's basically getting to get these really strong positions and basically go unthreatened here, you know, and Protoss is never going to win a game in the long run playing like this. Like, Protoss, once you get to the point where you've got the 4 bases up and you tried to do a big push and it didn't work, you gotta shift gears. And I do feel like we've watched the Protoss basically roam the map here, only to discover that there are lurkers everywhere and there's no real pregnable position.
Yeah, look at this. Another attack in. Does fly through with that, though. The Darkstorm, not quite enough to take that Nexus out, but right now, there's only like 2 mining bases for Mighty. He's not able to put any probes at this 5th. He just keeps making this ground army and keeps fighting against action, and it just doesn't seem to be enough.
Yeah, I mean, Protoss, I don't like casting games where I say this kind of stuff, but I don't really see a way Protoss gets out of this.
Yeah.
You know, he's pushing, he's doing an okay job. He is maxed out, and his macro is really good. But I think Action isn't going to have a difficult time continuing to take locations, and he keeps sniping observers here.
Yeah. And look, Action is actually taking the bottom left natural at this point. He has a million lurkers there. He has a Nidus set up in the bottom left main. Mighty, I think he's having his last few fights here with his highly technical army. He's put out a very strong game against one of the world's best Zergs. But as we were talking about, it is Action favored, and he's just kind of grinding him down.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, it's not our most epic ending here, right? It's kind of, you're watching the walls close in on a Protoss. You're watching opportunities basically get lower and lower. It's harder and harder to kind of recuperate from this. You know, Mighty could probably remax here, but Zerg is still milking the map for resources in every corner basically available. And, you know, you don't need anything fancy here from Zerg from here on out. You just keep making Hydra Lurker, you keep sniping the obses when you can, and you're going to slowly overwhelm them. And look, Protoss doesn't have that much at the 3rd and is doing fine at the 4th base. Zerg has another starting location and the natural, and can probably grow in now into the bottom center of the map with ease. And in fact, I think this is going to end as Zerg gets lurkers onto this plateau area. And now Protoss is trying to push into the map, not even attack into the Zerg. Zerg's expansions, I should say.
Yeah, some great storms going down there, but at the end of the day, Mighty is at 120 supply. He was maxed out forever this game. He was maxed out for, like, it feels like 10, 15 minutes, but not much left over. Action, a macro machine right now. He's gone up to 7 bases, and he's just plowing through.
Yeah, this is I don't know what else to say, guys. I mean, I'm watching this. We're seeing the Protoss try to crawl back out, but you know, you look at what's awaiting him on the other side of the map. It is hopeless.
Yeah.
And again, we did not have a single storm drop. We didn't have a DT put into a shuttle. You know, some of this sometimes can come down to the fact that you've gone Corsairs for so long. A lot of the other gas tech that complements what you want to get later on isn't actually there. Corsair's 100 gas. So you're dumping a lot of that into tech that just sort of, you know, I mean, I think the way to beat a solid Zerg is you need to get good position. You do need some Reavers to deal with Dark Swarm, and you need to take bases and cover those bases with Reavers on certain parts of the map, you know? It's really the only way, because especially in the positions that these guys got themselves in, Action just has endless resources to mine from.
Yeah, it's just, and he's starting to get really efficient too. You see the amount of plagues he's been throwing out here. It's just, Mighty is unable to take any more fights. I think that's going to be it. We're going to be seeing a GG from Mighty at this point.
Yeah,
his new 5th base just got taken out. His army has been plagued. He's got like nothing left at home. He has like 5 zealots at home, and that's it. And that's it. GG.
Yeah, GG.
But you know what? It's like, I really like Mighty's PvZ overall. Like, he has a lot of great ideas. He always gets into these late game situations that are very tough.
Yeah.
And I think he's a player that in the future is going to be like a real nasty Protoss to deal with. Like, there's no question in my mind in the next couple of years he's going to become an ASL regular. He's so close.
Yeah, look, I mean, he looks like he's almost got all the pieces you need to be like a top tier Protoss. He just can't quite do it all at once. I think when we saw the Zealots, the attack with the Corsairs right before +1 was finished, when we saw when he saw him lose the Corsairs, you really can't just outright lose the Corsairs unless you lost them in a big dog fight with Scourge and Mutas, and maybe you traded okay, but he lost them to Hydras. He's just got to tighten up his play a little bit. Yeah.
Now, it looks like Light has shown up, so it didn't take him quite as long for whatever it was that he had to do today. But now we have 2 Kings of the Hill going at it. Light is still undefeated. What did he win? He won like 7 maps, right? So he's on like a 7-game winning streak, but already Action's on like a 3-game winning streak. So this is going to be excellent.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. Is Light? Oh yeah, Light is actually in our channel right now. Okay, very cool.